The waitress who danced with a disabled boy and changed a billionaire's life forever. The silence in Kingsley's, Manhattan's most elite restaurant, was deafening. Forks paused midair, conversations stilled. All eyes turned to 10-year-old Lucas Montgomery, trembling in leg braces. As he reached for Diana Johnson, the restaurant's only black waitress. A soft piano tune had just begun. On impulse, Lucas asked her to dance. "Sir, control your son. This is no dance hall," Manager Thornton barked at Mr. Richard Montgomery, a billionaire and Lucas's father. Richard's face tightened. It was the first time he'd taken Lucas out in public since the accident that left him partially paralyzed 2 years prior. "Lucas, sit down," he ordered quietly. Diana hesitated. She had always remained invisible, especially to patrons like Richard Montgomery. But now, something stirred in her. "Mr. Thornton, my shift's over," she said, removing her apron. Then, with a warm smile, she took Lucas's hand and added, "I don't dance in aprons." Gasps filled the room. "She's getting fired tomorrow," someone whispered. Ignoring it all, Diana let Lucas lead. His steps were shaky and slow, his braces squeaked, but Diana followed, never correcting him. It wasn't about rhythm, it was about dignity. In those clumsy movements, fear faded. Pride emerged. Richard froze, struck by a memory. His late wife once dancing with Lucas in their living room. "It's not about perfection," she had said. "It's about connection." Diana returned Lucas to his seat with grace. "Thank you for asking me out," she told him, as if he were a grown man. She turned to leave. "Wait," Richard called, his voice different this time. "What's your full name?" "Diana Johnson." He handed her a card. "My office. Tomorrow at 10. The next morning, Diana entered the shining marble lobby of Montgomery Tower. Dressed in her best, still out of place amid luxury she couldn't afford. Inside, sharp-eyed assistants stared. Winters, the billionaire's right hand, led her down pristine hallways. "You were fired, right?" Winters asked. "No," Diana answered calmly. "Well," Winters smirked, "we'll see." Inside Richard's office, half floor of glass and skyline, he questioned her. "Education?" "BA in Child Development, NYU. Incomplete Masters in Special Education." He blinked. "I did some digging. You co-founded Freedom Steps, a dance therapy program for children with disabilities." "Yes," Diana confirmed. "We're about to shut down. No funding." "I want to hire you," Richard said. "As a waitress?" she asked, surprised. "No, as a therapeutic companion for Lucas. Yesterday, he smiled for the first time in years." Diana stood. "No," Richard stiffened. "I won't work for someone who only sees my skin or social class before my qualifications. And your son doesn't need more experts. He needs someone who lets him lead." She handed him a card before leaving. "Freedom Steps. Tuesdays and Thursdays. First class is free." A week later, a luxury Bentley parked outside an old community center in the Bronx. Lucas stepped out eagerly. And to everyone's surprise, so did Richard. Inside, Diana welcomed Lucas. Children danced in wheelchairs, on crutches, prosthetics. It looked chaotic. "There is structure," Diana said, "just not the kind you recognize." Richard stayed aside, uncomfortable, until a woman approached him, Dr. Elaine Mercer, eminent retired neuroscientist. "Mr. Montgomery," she said, "you turned down our research proposals 3 times. "You had this?" he asked, astonished. "This is a research program?" "Yes," Diana explained. "It's called Movement Autonomy. We combine neuroscience and adaptive dance to rewire the brain." "And you work as a waitress?" "Because people like you wouldn't fund us." It began to click. "You knew who I was. Since the moment you walked into the restaurant," Diana said. "But the dance, that was Lucas's idea. I just followed." Suddenly there were reporters. An article had gone viral. "Freedom Steps shows breakthrough results," it read. "You used my son for PR?" Richard snapped. "No," Diana said, showing him progress charts of dozens of children. "I used an opportunity to save a program that matters." Just then, Lucas removed a brace and took a step, unsupported. Cameras clicked. Richard stared, tears in his eyes. "This is why," Diana whispered. "Not perfect steps. First steps." Richard turned to the reporters. The Montgomery Foundation will fund Freedom Steps for the next 5 years, with no interference. Ms. Johnson retains full control. 6 months later, a new rehabilitation center began construction. It wasn't opulent, but it was designed by and for the children. Lucas led dances, now with one brace. Richard showed up often, sometimes in meetings, sometimes quietly at the back, even studying neuroscience at 50. "Why haven't you accepted my apology?" he asked one day. "Because you never gave one," Diana replied. "Funding isn't forgiveness, it's restitution." At the center's grand opening, Lucas, confident and joyful, led a routine surrounded by children. Richard stood at the back. "He doesn't need you to hold him anymore," Diana said. "No," Richard nodded, "but he needs to know I'll be here." When reporters asked what he had learned, Richard glanced at Lucas. That true leadership isn't about guiding others down paths we choose. It's about following when they show us a better way.